So if there's one thing that has suffered exponentially throughout the course of this Iran-US war over the past half a year or so, it is not only global trade, it is not only the global economy, it is not only international diplomacy, although those have taken a huge hit, of course, but it is the very regional order within the Gulf states, the very regional order around the Gulf region. Because it's not only the US and Iran attacking each other, it's not only the US attacking or striking Iran and Iran attempting to strike US targets, but because Iran is attempting to strike US forces and bases in the Middle East or in the Gulf states, that is directly attacking the Gulf territories, the Gulf states territories, Bahrain, Kuwait, the UAE, Saudi Arabia. Iran is attacking them or has been attacking them. And they've tolerated it for a while, but they seem to have reached their limits. As you've seen over the past week or so, Kuwait and Bahrain have fired back on Iran, have attacked targets in Iran with apparent support and assistance and intelligence from the UAE. Saudi Arabia has joined in strikes with America against Iran. And now Iran has reactivated its allies, the Houthis in Yemen, which has proven to be another problem for Saudi Arabia, another huge issue for Saudi Arabia. Now, as we discussed in the last video, the Houthis have proven over the years to be a thorn in Saudi Arabia's side, a stone in Saudi Arabia's shoe, which it cannot get rid of. It has attempted to, it failed with its coalition against the Houthis, starting from 2015. It failed to oust them. It failed to push the Houthis out of Sana'a. It failed to push them into the provinces or to eliminate them or to degrade them significantly. And it was forced to come to the negotiating table. Saudi Arabia was forced by the Houthis to come to the negotiating table. And they had to conduct prisoner exchanges. They had to try and keep the peace. It was in Saudi Arabia's interests and the rest of the Gulf states' interests to keep the peace with the Houthis. They said, we cannot get rid of the Houthis, so let's make deals, let's keep the peace. We're not going to be buddy with you, but at the same time, we're not going to launch attacks against you. And the Houthis, in return, will not launch attacks against the Gulf states. The Houthis will not launch attacks against Saudi Arabian oil refineries and energy infrastructure, and in the UAE and Abu Dhabi and etc. That was the kind of status quo over the past 3 years or so. 2 or 3 years. But now the issue of the Houthis is back at Saudi Arabia's door. So Iran has kind of forced the Gulf states into a corner with regards to this issue. It's forcing the Gulf states to kind of choose between, okay, are you with us or against us? Are you going to help us oust the Americans, or are you going to be with them? Are you going to continue hosting the American military presence, American bases, etc.? In which case, we're going to attack you. We have to attack you because you have the bases there. Where else are we going to attack? That's Iran's logic. Now, after the Houthis declared their blockade over the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, because now it's not just the Strait of Hormuz that is blockaded and that is under siege. Now it is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the opposite side of the Arabian Peninsula. So both waterways, both choke points are now essentially blocked, or that's what Iran and its allies are attempting to do. Because of that, global trade is expected to suffer exponentially because, as I discussed in the last video, trade cannot go up through the Red Sea. It cannot go up through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It cannot reach the Suez Canal or the other side or the other way around. Ships cannot go down through the Suez Canal and then down into the Red Sea, and then pass through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It is too costly for them. It's too risky for them to do that. And we've seen shipping through that Red Sea route already fall over the past week, and that's expected to suffer even more. Now, what some ministers from Yemen's internationally recognized government, so not the Houthis, what some internationally recognized government ministers in Yemen are saying is that the Houthis are trying to impose a toll, or it's their aim to impose a toll on that crossing. So it's going to say, okay, if you want to pass through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, you have to pay us. You have to pay a toll, as Iran has attempted to do in the Strait of Hormuz. I think they said like $2 million per ship to go through before. So multiple actors in the region are set to suffer because of this. Saudi Arabia will suffer, of course. Egypt will suffer because of ships transiting the Suez Canal. They have to pay a toll, and of course, if that's threatened, then that's going to stop. And multiple other actors in the region and in the international arena are set to suffer because of this. So it's in their best interest to free the Red Sea transit route. And because of this, to this end, Saudi Arabia has proposed a new coalition against the Houthis, a new maritime coalition against the Houthis, made up of 43 countries, to attempt to counter the Houthis and to free the Red Sea shipping lanes and to keep trade flowing in the area. So let's see how that goes. But even if that 43 nation coalition, even if that succeeds in keeping the shipping lanes open, even if they try and do that, it still does not solve the problem of the Houthis, because the Houthis will keep on firing onto Saudi Arabia, will keep on targeting sites in Saudi Arabia, possibly the UAE or other Gulf states, and they can keep on trying to fire on ships passing through. The issue of the Houthis will still be there. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf and the US and the wider international community will be forced to deal with the Houthis on land. Now, how this is going to pan out, we can discuss in another video, but we can say one thing for sure, or one thing that is most likely to occur in this case, is that Saudi Arabia might need the US or other Western nations or other allies to help in striking the Houthis. Whether that goes to ground forced invasion, that's yet to be seen, but at least for strikes. And Saudi Arabia will bear the brunt of that. Saudi Arabia will bear the financial cost of that. It will have to pay for billions of dollars of missiles and strikes and drone strikes on Yemen. Firstly, because apparently the US has relinquished a lot of its stockpile in the Iran war, and also because Trump, being who he is, he will try to get a deal in which others pay for what he does rather than himself, or rather than the US. As has been done many times over the years, Saudi Arabia or other Gulf states, but particularly Saudi Arabia, will probably have to pay for those US operations.